Hi, I'm Gordon from Camera Labs, and this is a quick news piece about the Sony RX1R Mark III, a high-end compact with a fixed 35mm f2 Zeiss lens and a 61MP full-frame sensor. Yep, after 9 long years, finally an update to the RX1R Mark II. Well, I guess it's not as if anybody had been asking for it, right? Now, Sony sprung the announcement on all of us in mid-July, so at the time I made this video, none of us had seen or used it yet, so this is just going to be a quick look at what's changed, and information and questions that were based on a Sony briefing that I was part of. First things first, the price. Sony's RX1R III will cost $5,100, a substantial increase over the launch price of the previous version, but that was almost a decade ago and things have changed somewhat. The accessories ain't cheap either, at an optimistic $300 for the optional thumb grip and $200 for the optional lens hood. So, what are you going to get for your money? The first major upgrade that everyone expected is inheriting the 61MP full-frame sensor from the A7R V and A7CR, and that gives it not just a boost in resolution over the 42MP of the previous model, but a substantial update in autofocus coverage and AF points. It's also unsurprisingly coupled with Sony's AI processing unit for their latest subject recognition, and that is going to be a big upgrade over the previous model. Note that the variable low pass filter is no longer present though. While the sensor delivers Sony's top photo resolution though, the video specs are lower due to the body size. So you're only getting 4K up to 30p and 1080 up to 120p, albeit at least with some of the latest codecs. And in terms of burst shooting, you're getting 5 frames per second, although again that is with 61MP files. Meanwhile, the lens remains the exact same Zeiss Sony T-Star 35mm f2 from the previous model, as apparently is already good enough for the high-resolution sensor. In good news though, the autofocus speed does look to be faster than before, so the hardware is at least driving it more quickly, and again you have the greater autofocus coverage and the much improved subject recognition. Note, there's no sensor shift IBIS or optical image stabilization, so there's no steady shot for still photos. The only stabilization in this camera is digital for the movie mode, and I believe it's either active or off. As before, the lens features a leaf shutter, which is very quiet and supports fast flash syncs up to the top shutter speed. The fastest mechanical shutter is 0.004 of a second, but it does require the aperture to be closed to f4. If you want the maximum f2 aperture, the top shutter speed reduces to 0.002 of a second. Note that there is no built-in flash. At first glance, the body looks similar to the Mark II, but look again and you'll see the top panel is now completely flat, with the dials, MI shoe and threaded shutter release all being flush. There's also a newly styled grip. Measuring 113 by 68 by 88mm, it's roughly similar in size to its predecessor, but at 498 grams it's actually a little bit lighter. And that's also a little bit smaller in every dimension than a Leica Q3 and 2/3 the weight of that camera. It's also smaller from the front than a Fujifilm GFX 100RF, unsurprisingly, and again roughly 2/3 the weight of that model. Indeed, impressively, it's also smaller from the front than an X100VI, and a few grams lighter too, although the lens does protrude 33mm further. The chassis is built from magnesium alloy, but there's no specifics on weather sealing, sadly. Connectivity includes USB-C, of course, micro HDMI and a 3.5mm microphone input, as well as the multi-interface shoe on the top. Storage, meanwhile, is a single SD card slot. I am pleased to report though that Sony's managed to squeeze in the current NP FW50 battery pack, more than doubling the quoted life of the previous model, so that is a decent upgrade. Turning to composition, the viewfinder is now integrated, so there's no need for it to pop up as it did before, which in turn means you can leave an eye cup fitted. But Sony's resisted the chance to upgrade the actual viewfinder resolution, so it remains a fairly modest 2.36 million dot panel with 0.7 times magnification. So in those respects, similar to the A7CR and below that of rival high-end compacts, I'm afraid. Meanwhile, the 3-inch screen now sports a high resolution and of course is now touch sensitive, but sadly it's fixed in position, so no possibility of tilting here. I believe this was to keep the size of the body down, but personally speaking I wouldn't have minded something a little bit thicker in order to allow a tilting screen. How about you? And that's everything that I know so far, but I do hope to be trying one out in person very soon, so check back for updates. In the meantime, the RX1R III gives us the sensor and the autofocus upgrade that we all hoped for, along with an improved battery and the convenience of a viewfinder that doesn't need to pop up anymore. But I'm less happy about that fixed screen, the modest viewfinder resolution, the lack of any photo stabilization, and of course that relatively hefty price. To put that in some context though, Leica's Q3 and Q3-43 are both more expensive at $6,700 and $7,500 respectively. But Fujifilm's GFX100 RF revealingly comes in a little bit less at $4,900 while sporting a 100 megapixel medium format sensor, twin card slots, a tilting screen and a higher resolution viewfinder, albeit a dimmer lens. As always, there's loads to weigh up between all of them, but the good news is at least we do have a new RX1R camera at last, and if it does fit your needs and your budget, it should also hopefully be more easily available than other recent models. Sony is expecting to start shipping, I think, at the end of August, and there's links to the latest pricing in the description if you're interested. As always, let me know what you think in the comments and what you'd like to see me test on a final sample. Oh, and if you didn't already know, and you had missed me mentioning it, I've also recently started a new channel all about great coffee shops around the world. So if you're interested in coffee, check out Gordon Gets Coffee, linked here and below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.